And welcome to the Doug Show Live. This is the one where I scheduled it at the wrong time and then showed up what I thought to be 20 minutes early, but really it was 40 minutes late. So thanks for the fine people that were just hanging on, waiting around here. It'll be funny if there's actually like more people attending today because I fucked up on the timing. So I see some people in the chat, so I'm gonna hop over there real quick and just say hello. And let me know where you're from. Let me know where you're at. I'm going to double check. And it does seem like the audio is working. So I could take these beautiful headphones off, which are actually, I was like, oh, these are going to be like more comfortable and blah, blah, blah. But it actually turns out these make my head kind of sore. I don't know what it does. It like cuts off circulation to all the hair follicles. Obviously super important. Justin's on. What's up? We got Berlin. And yeah, I'm kind of getting my act together a little bit. And I have no excuse to be honest with you, but I take that back. I have like 4 excuses, which I will tell you about. So how is everyone out there? Let me know in the chat where you're at. If you're in some sort of stage of a lockdown situation. Here in Colorado, we got the word just a few days ago, I think. First it was Boulder County, then it was like the full state, but we have the shelter in place order. And that largely means that I'm doing just about the exact same thing that I normally do, which is a little bit strange. But here are a couple of my excuses. Number one, I scheduled it at the wrong time. So that is not really an excuse. That's just a mistake. But one thing that I'm working on, because it's a big week for me next week, we're buying a home. It's an essential service, right? You got real estate, all the banking stuff. Like we've been spending money like maniacs. We're buying a home, and I need to get the wire transfer in place. So that is a very important thing. We got to get the wire transfer in place because there's a high volume of wire transfers these days. All right. So I was like, all right, I need to get the final number, and basically all of the title people, all the banking folks, like they have just been dragging their feet. They're like, oh, you'll have it Wednesday. Oh, you'll have it Thursday. And I'm like, guys, I kind of need it. And I have a feeling that it's going to screw things up on your side more than it's going to mess it up for our side. But anyway, I finally got those people on the phone and eventually got to talk to them. So I'm going to hop over to the chat. Got a couple topics going on today. So we got Gustavo, my man. He pointed out, oh, maybe Doug's having a technical issue. No technical issue, just poor scheduling. David caught that too, but he was accepting the blame himself. So good man there. But it was my fault, 100% my fault there. And oh, you know what? I don't have the chat showing here on. Okay, that's much better. And then Cat Speak is on out there in the UK from an SEO from back in the day. Used to spin articles and it all came crashing down. We have Israt. What's up? Mohammed says, can I tell us how to write the actual content for an Amazon associate and not just the keyword research in this video? So I can do a little tiny bit. I will point you, Mohammed, towards the live stream from last week where I literally did that. So part of the issue is this is a old title on here, but that's what we're dealing with right now. David asked, so Mohammed, I'll go over a couple things related to content, but I'm going to focus on a few other areas today. It's going to be a little fluid in general. Quick question, let me know on the time, let me know in the chat about what time you prefer these live streams. My friend Alex over at WP Eagle does live streams a little bit later in the day. So for the UK and much of Europe in that GMT time zone, it's in the evening. For me, that's sort of early afternoon, which is totally fine. But a while back, I started doing the live streams on Fridays because it was convenient for me and it was kind of a just loose thing that I could do, hop on, hang out with you guys and all that sort of thing. But as time has gone on, I've noticed that there's not that many people that hop onto these. Some people said, hey, all of us in Europe are in the GMT time zone, roughly. We're commuting at this time. We're hanging out with our families. Not a great time to do it. Maybe if you do it a little later, that'll be better. So we'll see. I'm not really sure. Not really sure. All right, David says, doing a site on the blind and low vision, too small of a niche. I don't know. I think it probably depends on your, like, the amount of keywords, the products, and the prices of those products. So I don't know enough about it, but if you've identified like a handful of products, you probably can find a series of them and it will be just fine. I recently purchased a site that it's fairly narrow. It's only getting about, well, like 50 to 70 visitors per day at this point in time, and it's probably going to make $200 this month. So smaller site, not much content at all. It's like 20 posts, and it's doing pretty well for the amount of traffic. So the price point of the products is good, and it's not much traffic, and there's a lot of keywords out there. So I have a feeling that once I do some things with it, it will be more profitable. Like, one thing is to just improve the tables and some of the like calls to action, feature boxes, and that sort of thing. So that's something I'm going to talk a little bit about today, because Amilinks Pro is having a discount sale exclusive to me right now. So I'll talk about that a little bit, but they don't do sales too often. And now's the time, if you're thinking about picking up the plugin, to get it. There's an offer for $30 or $100 off, depending on which product you get. Justin's on. Hey, how's it going, man? I just recorded our episode so that it'll be going live in a few weeks here. Valen, another student of the course. Shout out to all the 5-Figure Niche Site students out there. David's in suburban Philly, and I think they're kind of locked down a little bit, right? I'm not sure. Paul D is from the Netherlands. Tiff is from Vegas. Healthman from Ontario. Banaz, what's up? Roche, how's it going, man? And we got Prince in France is in a lockdown. Yeah, and Justin says you're in Florida where they're not locking anything down. Yeah, we have the shelter in place order in Colorado, but grocery stores and banks and all those sort of things are open. Also, all the weed dispensaries, the marijuana dispensaries, and the liquor stores too. So I think at first they were going to close those down, but then there was like a run on those stores. So it was like pandemonium. So they were like, all right, we'll leave those open. It's kind of funny. I went to the dispensary a couple weeks ago and just got a couple edibles, and I was like, oh yeah, what's going on here? Is it like big business, more people in, or what's the situation? This was like 2 weeks ago. They're like, yeah, yesterday we sold twice as much as we would on a normal Monday. Kind of crazy. Shazayab from Pakistan, how's it going? Tiff asked this: is it important for informational content to be KGR compliant as affiliate content? No, you can make it KGR compliant if you want. And, other content, if it's affiliate content or informational content, it's just up to you if you're making it KGR compliant or not. All right, Gustavo says you're taking a walk right now and enjoying the sun out in Portugal. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, iJazz says you were waiting patiently, and I appreciate that. Passionately, you even say. All right, MIT Plus wants to know the agenda for today. So first, I'm starting with talking about how I screwed up the timing. I'm going to talk a little bit about Amilinks Pro. I'm going to show a little bit of info on my traffic, because a couple of my sites are down a little bit, like Niche Site Project, down on traffic just a little bit. However, I have more traffic on a couple sites, including how many people here are familiar with the Age Site case study. Just hit the like button, hit the thumbs up, and let me know. We only have 3 right now, so we should see it jump, because a lot of people probably are indeed aware of the Age Site case study. If you're not, basically, it is a site that I purchased. It was a done-for-you Amazon affiliate site. It was aged at least 6 months. I think it was maybe closer to the year for the particular one that I purchased, and I'm outsourcing all the activities. The cool thing is it's getting record traffic through the last few days. Kind of amazing, and I pulled a screenshot just before we started the call here. So it looks like we only got one more thumbs up. I'll give one to, okay, there we go. We're up to 8, including my own. You gotta like your own videos, you know. So the Age Site case study, seeing a traffic increase. Another one of my sites, traffic increase. Some of them are down, but if you happen to be in a niche where people can do that activity, they can buy those products at home, and they're interested in doing that stuff at home, you may be seeing more traffic. Now, I did talk to a couple friends in the last week or two. They're seeing traffic drops of like 30 to 40%. I think on Niche Site Project, it's down like 10%. But a lot of that depends on how I'm sending out emails and where I'm directing people to. Sometimes I send people over here to YouTube. Sometimes I point people towards the podcast. So we're also going to talk about, Ezoic just a touch, because Ezoic is a partial sponsor of this live stream. And if you haven't checked out their Site Speed Accelerator, I highly recommend it. I put out a video a couple weeks ago where I took a very poorly optimized site. It's Google Page Insights, Google Speed, what is it called? Page Speed Insights score was like 27 to 30. Basically really terrible. Really, really terrible. I enabled the Site Speed Accelerator. I cannot talk today. Site Speed Accelerator. I need to do some like vocal exercises here. Made it up to a 98 or a 99, very high. So I didn't do anything weird. I didn't have it optimized on my site. All the caching, all the CDN, all of that stuff taken care of by Ezoic Site Speed Accelerator. The reason why I thought of Ezoic is they interviewed me the other week, and it just went live. So I didn't have a chance to put a link in the description here, but if you check out the Ezoic channel, which I highly recommend you do. And by the way, folks, if you want to do me a favor, head over to that video whenever we finish up, Ezoic's channel. Check out the interview with me. Leave a comment, say, Doug's fantastic. I can't believe such a bald man could be so entertaining. They edited it down a little bit, so they took a long rambling conversation with me. They cut it down to under 10 minutes. So it's just the good stuff. I wish I could do that for everything. All right. So that's some of the stuff we're going to talk about. Eddie Creative, what's up, my man? Everyone's confined in the houses. Yeah. What's it like in the UK? I know I got a lot of friends and folks in the UK there. So how's it going there? I know things are getting a little crazier around there. All right. Gustavo, it's in the afternoon. Tiff said, this time is fine for you. David's been locked down for like 10 days. Cat Speak, complete lockdown. It's in the evening. All right, someone's asking about 5-figure niche site. So I'll talk about that a little bit in a second as well. AVX says your earnings have spiked, and Wesley's picking up stocks during this virus. Bold, but I'm continuing to buy. In fact, I was trying to move some money around. And I had a lot of cash that I pulled out, with purchasing a home and all that stuff. I had pulled out a lot of money, so that's kind of good. And then I also had a lot of money to invest, so that's kind of good. All right. Khalid says, did anyone notice a decrease in traffic during the COVID outbreak? Yep. So I think a lot of people, Madeira says, yeah, you're seeing a decrease. This is really sad. Yeah. It is sad. Some people are seeing traffic increases, which I'll show you some of those. And I'll show you the increases so you can actually see the graphs and stuff in analytics. But I did have some traffic decreases. I would say it's a net even for me right now. And I would say it's highly dependent or exclusively dependent on the niche that you're in, most likely. Because if people are not, I can't think of a good example right now, but I mean, people are probably not going out shopping for cars right now, right? So if you happen to be in something like that, probably not out there looking for cars. They're probably just staying home. I don't even know if car dealerships are open. That could be an essential business. I'm not quite sure. All right. And Roche says you're all in on bald man support. Indeed. Justin asks if I'm running Ezoic ads on any of my sites. Not currently right now. No. So I can answer that straight up. And J&K, Jaron, what's up, my man? And we have Asherwad. Welcome. Good to have you on. All right. Let's hop over to some of these traffic increases and decreases just quickly. I think I can share this. I need like 6 monitors and a producer. All right, let me see if I could share this stuff here without goofing everything up, which is hard to tell. All right, give me 1 second. There's just a lot of windows here. A lot of windows. But the upside is I will be able to show you actual diagrams here, which hopefully is a good thing. I'm just double checking. Cool. All right. And we're showing this jam thing here, but really I want to show preview, which is this. All right. So we have this. So this is one of the sites. This is the age site case study here. This is January through March. And you'll see just in general, things are trucking along relatively evenly. In early sort of February, things were a little bit lower, but I believe we see that often with affiliate sites. January has some staying power from the retail season, but oftentimes February is a bit of a lull. At least I find that. Even through March, and sometimes April will pick up, or the end of March it'll pick up quite a bit. But you'll notice here, and I didn't group the week together, but you can clearly see over in this section here, traffic's up. And in fact, that is record traffic. So I really haven't done much work on the site in the last 5 months, something like that. Published a lot of content, got some pretty great backlinks from the HOTH, and then I've just been chilling. I'm just chilling here. So when I look at this, I see the average time on a page is almost 4 minutes. The bounce rate is pretty high, but that generally is indicating to me that they're either getting the information that they want, or they're going to Amazon pretty quickly. In either case, this is fine. The other one that I'll show is it's a different site, not the age site case study. And you'll see here, same sort of situation. You got quite a high uptick right here, which again, that's very cool considering everything that's going on. But when you have that traffic go up, it's a very great thing. And this is during a time where you can see this particular couple days right here, quite a bit of a drop. And then it sort of ticked back up and something popped, right? One cool thing that I always like to look at is the lower traffic. So you have the lower traffic days doesn't go as low. It's great to have the spikes, but I'm like, if the lows don't go as low, that makes me feel good. I'm not sure why. I haven't done any study or anything with it, but that makes me feel good overall, just in a general sense. All right. So again, like I said, traffic is up on some sites, traffic is down on others. For me, in general, it seems to be sort of a net even situation. I'm going to hop back over to the chat. Jaron says you want to connect soon. Please shoot me an email, man. We've talked about this so many times. Shoot me an email. I can tell you I'm going to be busy for a couple weeks. I'm moving. So someone mentioned the firearm niche spiked almost 80% in March. And yeah, Mark says you can't go wrong with firearms. Tammy is asking about what I use to get the page site speed up. So Site Speed Accelerator from Ezoic. There's a link in the description for Ezoic. There's a 7-day free trial, Tammy, so you can check it out. It may take you a day or two to configure and basically set up the account. I highly recommend you use the DNS version just for full optimization. And actually, I went to connect with them and find out, like, is there any risk doing the DNS? Why do they do that? A few people have said, hey, I don't feel comfortable going through their DNS, but CatSpeak says 5 of your sites use Ezoic speed. They're all over 97. So yeah, Tammy, check it out. Free 7-day trial. You can see if it works for you. I mean, basically, they generally guarantee that you'll get a over 80 score, and if you don't, basically you can get it for they won't charge you for it. But if it's not getting you what you need, I would say hop off the platform. If it's not working for what you need it to do. So, Khalid said you have a travel niche site and traffic's down 50%. I would imagine that's so. I mean, the travel niche is going to be decimated overall. I mean, think about cruises as well, which, I mean, from a ecological standpoint, it's horrific, right? I think like a big cruise ship just running and idling is like the equivalent to some massive, crazy number of cars running. So from that standpoint, from kind of a green standpoint, it's not the worst thing in the world. But anyway, I'm sorry to hear your site is down, and you said another site related to cycling and indoor bike stands. Okay. But the sad part is bike stands are out of stock. Yeah, I mean, I was perusing YouTube, as I do from time to time. I'm in YouTube all the time. I'll just be honest here. So I was in YouTube, and I saw like home gyms popping up, and there's like home gym garage home gym, and all this stuff. And they're just like, buy this stuff on Amazon. Like, if you're in a specific niche and people are trying to figure out how to do things at home and handle being locked down in a quasi quarantine situation, you're in great shape. You're really in great shape, because once people get their fill of watching the news and things are stable enough, I mean, I think people are going to the grocery store and they see there's still food there. There's maybe not as many options, not as many full shelves, but I mean, there's food out there. So people are going to be trying to figure out how to stay home and be productive and do their thing. All right, as we're going through here, so one of your sites is in the sandbox. This is, I'll just call you Ash. You're struggling to get on page 1 for most keywords. Any opinion? Yeah, keep publishing content until you're out of the sandbox, and I think you'll probably find that a lot of those keywords are going to move up. Continue to try to improve that content. All right, I'm going to hop over, and I talked about the age site case study just kind of super briefly, but I'm going to do it again here, and I've set a couple things up for the software that is not working. So, let me try one more time. What is going on here? All right, I thought I was going to be able to share the screen a little more effectively, but we'll just deal with what we have. So I mentioned before the age site case study, in which I bought a site. It was already done. It was aged for 6 months. It was out of the sandbox already, Ash. And basically, I wanted to get an ROI as soon as possible. So I've documented this stuff for a while. You can see the last update was about a month ago, and it will probably be a couple weeks before I'm able to do the next update. Just been really busy around here. It's been rough overall, but you'll notice that I kind of have a raw notes page here. So there's no long narrative, but I do kind of step you through all the tools and all the services that I've used. And I do want to point out that I did use Amalinks Pro on this site. I added about 50 articles. It had about 30 when I first bought it. And I added about 50 articles. I hired a company called Content Development Pros, which if you want to check them out, they could do like high volumes of content in a quick manner, my man is Tim Wilson. Send him an email, put attention Tim Wilson. He'll hook you up with a discount, and that's who I work with. So after that, I had my VA work on the post as far as like proofreading and just making sure it was to my specs. And then she used Amalinks Pro to insert images, links, feature boxes for the products, and tables, right? So very versatile plugin. And the reason why I'm talking about it is because there's a discount. I'm working with the team over there this week. So there's a sale. It's going on through the end of the day today. So that said, you can check out all the content over here. I mean, basically the reason why I did this is it's a blueprint for someone who has more money than time, or maybe you have money to invest, or maybe you now have a lot of time and you have a lot of money, you got everything going for you. And then you're thinking, how can I do this faster? You could outsource a lot of the activities and do some of the work yourself. So this is a blueprint. You can go through and do this stuff. I tell you, what services I'm using. I'm telling you how I'm selecting them. There's over 12 videos, it looks like here. There's 12 videos and a few podcast episodes here. Lots of content plus the timeline here. So I do show month over month, except I missed this last month, but I show you the earnings and so on and so forth. Now, full disclosure here, I will mention that I was hoping and expecting the earnings to be about double what they are at this point in time, but I haven't followed through as much as I would have liked, and I've kind of let the site sit there. For that reason, I think it's actually doing decent. Sorry if I peeked there for a second, but for that reason, I think it's doing pretty well. I think if I would have continued publishing more content, for example, that would be better. If I got more links, that would be better too. So in general, if you do more work, good shit's going to happen. I mean, that's just kind of the way it works. Sometimes you may hit a plateau and it may take a while before you see some movement, but the fact that I still see my site growing and I haven't done anything in 5 months, that's a good sign for me. I mean, it means I was doing things right in the beginning. And again, this blueprint works. So do check out the Age Site case study if you're interested in that sort of thing, which if you're watching this, I'm sure you are. All right. I'm going to give a shout out for a couple people. Chris, I see your question. All right. Derek, what's up? Tammy, definitely check out Ezoic. And Asim is asking about Corona in my area. There's in Boulder County, there's a handful of cases. In Colorado, I think it's sort of in the top third of the quote number of cases, but I don't know anyone personally around here. And generally, it's weird, but I think someone like Emilia may notice this too. Like your day to day may be pretty close to the same. Now, Emilia has kids, so her day to day may be shifted a huge amount. But if you work from home, like me, I'm usually by myself anyway. I'm walking the dog outside. The biggest shift is the gym is closed at the apartments here. So I'm walking more outside and, using some small dumbbells and elastic bands that I just had around. So doing a few things like that. And there's one spot where I know I can use some barbells. So it's not really a gym, but it's sort of a closed area of, I can't even describe it well. There's a place that I know of where there's barbells and it's sort of a private club. And basically it's my friend's place. So I could go over there, lift some heavy weights, especially like for legs, doing squats or deadlifts, stuff like that. And there's a pull-up bar over there too. So, all right, quick plug for Emilia's channel. She hopped over here. I interviewed her recently. I think the interview went live yesterday. Be sure to check it out. We talked for a very long time for all the people that have plenty of time to listen. It's a great episode, and I think you should check it out and check out Emilia's channel. She mentions that she's shifting her working hours because the kids are home and it's hard to get the normal amount of hours in. And I think it's fantastic that you have the flexibility to do that. And that's one of the really lucky. I mean, I'm moving next week. All this stuff is going on, and I had been planning for 2 months to take about 2 weeks off to move. So I've been working very hard to have content ready, content done, and just have things squared away so I can take 2 weeks off, still have a couple weeks of content out there without me having to do anything. So, man, like last year, 2019, I packed and moved from Montana to Colorado. I took a month off in the summer, maybe a little more than a month, to go on vacation, road trip up to Alaska. And then I visited my folks and my family down in Georgia. So I drove in December and took about a month off then as well. So when you look at it, I take quite a lot of time off, and I end up taking like huge chunks of time, and then I'll just check in here and there. So very fortunate to have this sort of situation that's flexible so that I can take time off when I need to. And then generally, right, even if I was quarantined, which, I mean, staying at home and like still being able to get groceries is not quite quarantine, but if I was quarantined, I would still be able to, assuming my brain was functioning okay, I could still generally work. I could still do things. And I mean, the train wouldn't completely go off the tracks, which is great. All right. So hopping back, I do want to mention AmmoLinks Pro. I'm not going to jam on this for too long, but I will let you know that you can save $30 or $100 depending on which package you get. You'll notice that these discount codes end in like 15 hours if I'm doing the math right, 15, 16 hours, something like that. A little time change. And basically, AmmoLinks Pro is sort of the go-to. It's sort of the new kid on the block for Amazon affiliate links. The very cool part, I'll hop over to the promo page here. So there's a link in the description. The codes are listed on the page, so you'll be able to check it out. You can use the plugin with or without the Amazon API access. So there's the Amazon advertising API access, and generally you have to make enough sales so that is enabled. And I lost the stream here. Okay, we're still working. So basically, let me get rid of this thing here. So if you don't make enough sales, or if you're brand new to the associate program, you may not have the advertising API access. So this is sort of a groundbreaking development. This is a new thing. It hasn't really been talked about too much, but this is like a new thing. So they took a very kind of cool approach to utilize some of the site stripe functionality with their plugin, and you're able to flip a switch. You click a checkbox, so when you get access, it moves over for you. Or if unfortunately you have access, you have your site set up, you lose access, you can switch it off as well. So there's some functionality there so that you can adapt as your situation changes. So I'm not going to go through everything here, but there's a few videos. I have one myself, and basically you can insert text images, links for images, text links and image links, and call to action buttons, and the product showcases. You could sort of set it up how you would like. It's very easy to use, so that I actually just had my VA using AmmoLinks Pro, and she didn't know, number one, how to use WordPress or what Amazon affiliate marketing was at all. And I just took 15 minutes, kind of told her what the deal was, showed her a couple videos over here on the site, and then she was off and running. So all those 50 articles that I mentioned, she worked on all those. I have not even read them yet. You can see Spencer Hawes over at Niche Pursuits digs the plugin, and some other folks here. So, Marty, fine student of the course, and they have the ability to create tables as well. A lot of people do ask me about tables. I personally like to use an HTML table generator and hit the code myself. But if you're working with a VA or you don't want to hop into HTML mode, then you could just use this plugin. So check it out. If you're interested in the plugin at all, highly recommend you take advantage while it's on sale and then test it out, see if you like it. I'm pretty sure they have a pretty generous refund policy if it turns out it's not for you. But I think once you start using it, you'll find that you really like it. Again, people like myself, Spencer Hawes, I think there's a couple other folks. I don't know who all is promoting it, but there are quite a few people out there that appreciate the plugin. So that said, David asks, how many hours in a typical week do you work? So it varies quite a bit. If I am really trying to get a lot of work done, it's probably like 30 to 35, something like that. Like in the last couple of weeks, I've been ramping up to try to get ready for a move. And I knew that I was going to be taking a couple of weeks off, so I did a little extra work. I think on most weeks, most average days, I'm probably working 4 to 6 hours, something like that. And often, 4 days a week, something like that, 4.5 maybe. When I'm really trying to get work done, I like most of the stuff that I'm doing. So if that is the case, then I'm like, oh man, I want to do a little bit more. Like I'm always thinking of other videos to shoot. And you may remember, David, I did teardowns for best roof box. And I was going to do like 3 videos or so. But I kept thinking of new ways to share information and different angles to provide analysis for best roof box. So I ended up with 6 videos instead of 3, plus the interview with Alex from WP Eagle. So, with that one, it ends up being like 90 minutes of content, something like that. And I think I shot, half of that over the weekend. It was like, I think I had a little extra time. I worked out already that Saturday. I did a couple things. And then basically, I was like, oh, you know what? I'm just going to hit record on my screen recording software and not worry about the editing too much and just kind of keep it tight. I knew what I wanted to cover, went through it and published a bunch of videos. And I've gotten hundreds of views on those. So, I would say probably like 25 to 35 hours per week most of the time. And that's peppered in with apparently something like 1 month off every few months or so. I take a lot of time off apparently. All right, so I did mention, and I saw that I think Mohammed was asking about writing content, and you want to know how to write content. So I'll just give you a couple quick tips. One toy I picked up a while back, but I haven't used it as much on the live streams, is it's one of these little tablet deals so that you can like write. Well, I haven't used it in so long, it's a little dusty here. It's one of those Wacom little tablets, and it has like the pen, and I could like draw in here. So let's see if this thing works. All right, you can see my screen here. It's beautiful. I could even zoom in. Wow, look at that. Fantastic. Cool. So I'm just going to assume there, Mohammed, that you're doing an affiliate piece of content. So what I recommend is let's see if this thing works here. If I can figure out how to make it work. So first, you're going to want to, here's where I start. I Google the term, right? So that's the title, most likely. And then at that point, I would say research. All right, so do some research there. And then at first, you're going to be probably a little confused, but soon you will learn about that specific topic. You'll be pretty happy about that. And then you're going to put together an outline. So that's step 2. I need to work on my handwriting here, but you're going to put together an outline. And then with that outline, I may as well be drawing with a fucking mouse, you know? All right, we'll get back on track here. So you write the outline, and I would say treat it like a brainstorming situation, and don't like filter yourself too much. Just get out all the ideas that you think should be in there. All right. I'm going to pepper in like, check out the PDF user manual. Always check out the PDF user manual over on the manufacturer's site. It's always free, right? And you can get great insights over there. So PDF user manual, write the outline. Don't fill in all the details, just write that outline. You come back and edit it later. All right. So you should be able to have a pretty well put together outline, and you could use those outline, I guess the hierarchy for your subheadings. So I would lean on those for the subheadings. Missed a couple subheadings. Then after you get your outline done, then you write it. Keep it simple. Maybe you're not used to writing. That is okay. You could just write one sentence for each of the subheadings and then expand on it. So write one sentence for each of the subheadings, and maybe you come back and you're like, oh, can I write 2 more sentences for each one? And then you end up with a pretty good outline. So that is one part. That's sort of the buying guide part. And then the products. And I recommend you put something like 3 to 5 products initially. You know, you don't have to go overboard. So 3 is plenty. And then just head over to Amazon and browse for the different products and look for, I would say, 4 to 5 stars in general. Write a mini review for each one of those. And what you could do if you're like, hey, I don't know what to put on the mini review. Mini reviews. All right. But I'm missing a letter there. Let's see. Mini reviews. So for the mini reviews, you can talk about how each one of the products matches up to the features. All right. So those products will match up to the features that you mentioned before. So that way, it's sort of a cohesive way to approach all the content. I'll work on my handwriting here. This is atrocious. I see that. You know, I could tell. This looks pretty terrible. So we'll see what we can do. It could be that I'm just trying to write too quickly here. But that way, you sort of have a cohesive way to approach the content. And then I will call on my friend out there in the crowd. New Age says you got your first Amazon sale today. Fantastic. And you mentioned the KGR is why. How long should you let a post sit before rewriting it, assuming it's not performing? Well, if it's not performing, then I'll just answer your question. All right. And then I'll pepper in some depth. But I would say if it's not doing anything after like 2 months or so, 6 weeks to 2 months, you could probably do okay. You could probably do okay by improving it. But really, even if something's performing well, you can go and improve it. So the sad part, I see Yuhara says, I thought my handwriting sucks. The funny thing, my handwriting is really not that bad. It's just on the tablet and the way I was holding it. Like this is my normal, like my handwriting is like pretty decent. Like you can see, I mean, that's okay. I can read that pretty well. So I just need to work on this. Maybe I could do a whole live stream where I would just work on my handwriting. Maybe get a couple more thumbs up if I work on the handwriting, huh? So basically, if you can put that stuff together, you will probably end up with a pretty decent article. Now, any other questions about content, especially from Mohammed, since you were the one asking about it specifically? And in general, I think it's really important just to start publishing something, start writing, start getting the content out there, and then you'll be able to come back to it and improve. none of this is permanent. It's not your final answer. You can change it consistently and like change it all the time. In fact, I have a post over on Niche Site Project, which I'll get a link for you and put it in the chat. But I was revamping, with the help of my friend Marty, some of the example sites that I have for Amazon affiliate sites, which is kind of cool because that is often what people want to see. You want to see examples, you want to see real sites out there. And I was re-inspired by Best Roof Box because it's like Alex is just putting it all out there, making it available for everyone to see. So I'm going to put this in the chat and hopefully you'll be able to check it out. But this page is one where I made a couple updates. I had Marty come through and help me out with getting updates for traffic. And this post has been out here for a while. So some of the sites that I feature, honestly, they kind of suck. But it was just an example because I wanted people to see the kind of sites that are out there and then the traffic that they're potentially getting, even if they look horrible and the content is bad. Now, Alex's site, Best Roof Box, is pretty good. And the cool thing is on this post, which I can actually share because we got the technology. So this post over here, you can get all the keywords that the sites are ranking for. Not actually, let me take that back. Let me rephrase. You can download a subset of the keywords. Some of them are too big for you to download all of them. So I took like the best 1,000. But like in this case here, you can download the keywords. You do have to join the email list. So that is the trick, right? I'm getting you on the email list. You can unsubscribe, but basically I send you all my templates and you get all these keywords. But if you click here, name and email address, click download now, you'll get a link to all those resources I just mentioned. But I go through here and mention what's going on. So this site, and you get the behind the scenes look, right? I did the full teardown and all that stuff on this site. Alex is sharing all the information. The site's worth $37,000 or so based on a monthly multiple of about 25. And this was based on some of Alex's most recent updates on his YouTube channel. You can see the Google Analytics over here, Best Roof Box. You see some of the Ahrefs information here and so on. You get an earnings screenshot. It's January through February because that's when I talked to Alex, but basically you get some real information over here. So you could check out the full teardown here. You could watch videos over here, and there's several other sites that are featured. So if you haven't checked out this page, like most of the things that I put out, it's very thorough. It's quite long, and it ends up being more valuable than some paid courses out there. So definitely check this stuff out. You can probably get ideas. This site here, Live Longer Running, pretty crappy site overall. It was crappy when I reviewed it the first time around, but this is a site on treadmills. Right now, people are stuck at home. All the gyms are closed. Imagine if you had a site right now with how to create a home gym with Amazon affiliate like products or Amazon products, and you have an affiliate site. I mean, you just kind of have to have things in place. You can't plan for that sort of thing, but if you have it in place, you may end up in a very nice position. You didn't know that, and that's what happened with some of my sites. I didn't even know that they were going to be, valuable in this sort of environment where people are stuck at home. Again, if you're in the wrong kind of site, if you're selling like I think barbershops and like hairstylists and stuff like that, those are considered non-essential. So if you had a site where you were reviewing products for hair care, which is not my jam, of course, but if you were doing that, you would probably see that people are not buying as much stuff because their shop is closing, right? So you got to think about some stuff like that. But at the same time, you never know. It could have been like a growing industry for years, and then this sort of really unusual event is taking place. So, all right. As we are scrolling down, I'm going to check out any questions out there. Yuhara says, would I go after a niche that looks competitive? Sure. What's my main criteria for selecting a winning niche? So if you're asking for well, first, number one, that's a complex thing. So it's hard to answer, but generally I'm looking for products that people are buying and products that are not too cheap, but also not too expensive. So kind of that sweet spot. Oh, Asim says you're creating a content development challenge to keep everyone motivated. Do I want to join in? No, not really. Sorry about that, but I'm not super. Here, I'll hop back. Yeah, tell me about this because I'm not real sure. In fact, Emilia, are you on Skype right now? Are you available? Can you tell me about it? We could jam. Oh, Derek says biggest month yet, over $2,000 this month. Epic, my man, epic. I may try to set up an interview with you once I am back in the office. Kind of scaling things down here coming up. CatSpeak says you have a 2-year-old site that hasn't had any work done on it in ages. If you start adding new articles, how long before you would start to rank? I have no idea. That's a sort of an impossible question to answer. You could basically start publishing and it potentially could start ranking now, or it may take like several months. I have no idea. And there's no way to know until you try it on that specific site. Because most of the time you'll find it's keyword and niche specific. It's specific to your site and all that kind of stuff. There's a high likelihood, Kat, that it would rank really quickly, but you never know. Sorry, I can't answer that more carefully. And Derek, can you give us some details? Site, just like how many posts are out there, how long you've been working on it, and I'll just mention it here for inspiration because I know some people, unfortunately, like Khalid, he was like, hey man, traffic's down a ton. Turns out it's just a niche that's not going to do well right now. However, yours seems to be really great overall. So I'm going to potentially pull Emilia onto Skype here since I think she was chatting about some of the some kind of content challenge or something or other. All right. And Alexander has an interesting question. How to choose when your site is ready to go after 1,000 to 5,000 volume keywords? Can you rephrase that? I'm not 100% sure what that means. Basically, I encourage people just to get going as soon as possible because you end up waiting for no reason. So I usually just say launch whenever you want. Launch as soon as possible. All right, I am going to see if I can call you, Emilia, and see if this is going to work. I've never done a live call like this, so we'll see how it's going to go. All right, I'm going to try and call you. And I think I may be able to switch the stream over. We'll see. All right. And I legally, Emilia, I have to tell you that you're being recorded. Can you hear me okay? Okay. And then I think I need to switch over here. All right. So I think Emilia, you're on the live stream. Cool. Can people hear Emilia right now? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm distracting you from stuff. Funny thing, I don't know if you caught the first part, but I was planning on doing the live stream at 11, and then apparently I scheduled it for 10, so there were people just waiting there. Very good, very good. So, for people that don't know you, Amelia, they could check out the long interview, and then they'll know you like a dear friend. So that was published just I think yesterday. So hopefully, or, yeah, yeah. Let's see. Okay, so I'm getting a note that no audio is working. They can't hear you. Okay, let's see if this is working now.
Testing, testing.
All right. I think thanks for the patience, everyone. See, we're doing this in a low risk environment. So really the only way to know is like if you go live, and then you'll know if it's working or not.
Yeah, well, that's the fun part is that now you'll have an idea about whether or not this is a good idea in the future.
Yeah, we will figure it out. So, and there's always a little bit of a delay. It's not super huge, but there's always a little bit of a delay. So I see the chat and people are letting us know. So hopefully it'll come around. So okay. So we're hearing that it does work. All right. So this is Amelia here. Perfect. We're running now. I know that I have to click a couple switches over here. If it's something is muted, then it doesn't work. Now, Amelia, can you see like can people see my video too? Do you know?
I can see me mostly. It's not flipping back to you. And so mostly it's just me like nodding, listening to you.
Okay. I think there must be a way that I can show both of them, but it looks like so here's me and then there's you. So I know how to switch that, but there must be a way to just have us like next to each other. All right, well, we'll worry about it some other time. Okay, the reason why I brought you on is there's some sort of a content challenge happening. Someone was like, "Hey Doug, do you want to be a content challenge for motivation?" And I'm one of those people where when someone asks like, "How do you stay motivated?" I have no idea. I just do stuff almost all the time. I'm pretty self-motivated and I have been for since I can remember, since I was a little kid. But you've been doing a content challenge, right, Amelia? So what's the scope of that?
This started out at the end of December of 2019. I did a video just talking about goals, and there were people in the comments who were like, yeah, it'd be great to just have a community of people who were working, like really motivated people. And it's not so much to make people work that weren't going to do work. It was just a matter of sort of being around other people who wanted to just sort of share the experience because, I know that you're not bothered. You're an introvert. You like to work at home and ignore or avoid people most of the time. So what we started doing was just doing a Google spreadsheet. And at the beginning of January, I just wanted to see how many people would jump on and just put down their goals and then just update daily their progress on that. And it turns out 10 people thought it was interesting. And for me, 10 people was quite a few. And we all supported each other through the month just in the spreadsheet. I mean, there's no money, no email address, no marketing, no emails dripped or anything. It was just sort of an accountability thing. And we did it in February again. And then in March, I mean, people are working so hard and it's amazing to me. And we're just able to ask questions and hang out. And so one of the thoughts was this month to move to a Facebook group instead of a Google spreadsheet, no cost, no emails, nothing. And so I had asked Asim, who's in it, it's like, should we go to a Facebook group versus the Google spreadsheet? And then he was kind of, I think, maybe being funny or maybe being serious, seeing if you wanted to jump in. But it's not something that I ever really thought of. It's just for folks who are pushing really hard and sort of want to be around other people who are also pushing really hard. That's it.
Cool. That's awesome. Yeah, and I think, this is a good forum to ask someone to try and pin them down, since there's other people watching, but I'm enough of an asshole where I'm like, you know what? Actually, no. But you know what? I think it's great because some people definitely benefit from like seeing other people like working through it. Plus you have folks to talk to. And I have like a few folks that I sort of came up with like over the years, so I know them pretty well, and I've been able to basically chat with them if I want to bounce some ideas off, and I could just text them or hop on Skype for a few minutes. And sometimes I have like regularly scheduled calls. But as far as like the motivation portion, I think like for me, it doesn't, for whatever reason, I'm not a great coach, right? I could analyze stuff, but specifically, I at least at this point in time, I don't get a huge, I don't get much out of like coaching random people. No offense, everyone, but people I don't know on the internet to motivate them. I can tell people how to do things and stuff like that, but like by the time you get to me, you need to like really want to do it because I'm not going to convince you to do it. I'm like, hey, everything's really fucking hard, and it's going to take longer than you think, which is not super motivating. I'm not a
Well,
very good cheerleader.
but I think that's what's important about this sort of accountability thing is it's not about coaching people to do stuff. Like there's no coaching. Like I'm not like sending out motivational messages. Like I'm just doing my work and then sharing what I am doing. And then, people like they want to chat about things that are going on. Like people have been talking a lot this month about traffic, like how their traffic has been impacted and sharing that. But it's really not about coaching, like at all, because who's got time for that? Like this not a coaching relationship. And I'm certainly not someone who's at a place where I should be coaching anybody. If anything, the people in the accountability group know more than I do. Like overall, like they are all pretty much more experienced than me. So I just feel good sort of being able to like rub shoulders with them and like, hey, I want to do what you do.
Right. Gotcha. That makes sense. That makes sense. So that sounds good. So are you guys doing a Facebook group then, or is it still sort of?
I try to kick off like the beginning of every month using the YouTube channel and say, hey, this is the roundup. Anybody who wants to jump in should jump in. But I guess if we start a Facebook group, then once you're in, I guess you're in because I'm not going to do a new Facebook group for every month. So maybe I will launch in April with just say, hey, here's the wrap up. Here's how we did. And then anybody who wants to go do the Facebook group, like there it is.
Cool. Yeah, that's pretty neat. Well, if you do end up doing that, let me know and we can talk about it. And I think, I mean, I've always been, not always, but I would say the last 2 years, just not a fan of the Facebook groups and stuff. Just there's so much noise in there and it ends up being a distraction for me personally. And I'm not sure. I react poorly to that sort of group setting. But I know people, they love them. They love the Facebook groups and they're like, yeah, it's a great place to get an education. And I was like, I must have been in the wrong groups because there were a lot of people talking about stuff that didn't know what they were talking about. That's most of what I saw in Facebook groups. A lot of people just repeating something that they heard that they don't really know about. And I don't know, like, am I way off? Like, have you found much, or are you into Facebook groups?
I participate in just very, very a few of them, and only because I either have some sort of relationship with the person running the group, like, and I find that they're really valuable. But I don't do a lot of Facebook groups. And one of the downsides, as you were talking, it strikes me that Facebook has a lot of control over the content. So you bring your audience to this Facebook group to do this accountability thing, but Facebook controls whether or not those posts even make it to your feed. And so people would have to go affirmatively to the group to really see what the posts are. And like if you post too much, Facebook could just decide that you don't get to post anything. They could put you in jail. So I don't know, maybe I will stick with the spreadsheet. I mean, that's been working and it's such a small group anyway. I just hate to give all the power to Mark Zuckerberg.
Yep. And I was chatting with someone the other day and I was like, yeah, I know Facebook groups are, everyone has a boner for Facebook groups right now. But the problem is like, at some point, they're going to start charging you to even reach your group. So I know it seems like that's not going to happen, but that is literally what, once they start funneling people over, once they start allowing people to connect, then they'll start throttling it and figuring out how to monetize it. So I imagine at some point in the future, like you said, they're going to charge you to reach your own group and like it's not going to be free anymore. Great. Like if you get to the place early enough and you build an audience early enough, it's fantastic, right? But yeah, like at this point, I'm like, I'm not going to send everyone over to Facebook. Now I may participate, like if I know people with Facebook groups, and that potentially could be a good thing for me to hop in and like be a contributor, not have to mess around with all the nonsense of a Facebook group, but take advantage of the good parts. Like, really just capitalize on what other people put together. So,
All right. Well, I didn't mean to hijack your live stream. We were just talking about it in the chat box. So thanks for, I guess, bringing up the chat.
of course, yeah. I mean, it helps me too because I ran out of stuff to say, and when you have another person to talk to, it basically gets you out of jail there. So, I was I was drawing pictures. Did you see the bullshit?
I
I
did.
mean,
Seriously, is it that bad?
what was that? So, anyway, thanks for hopping on. Everybody, check out Emilia's channel, and I'll pop back over just real quick. So, Emilia, you can say goodbye.
See you later, guys. Have fun. Have a great day.
All right. Thanks a lot, Emilia, and everyone for tolerating me trying to figure out the technology on that. But now I know how to do it, and now I can and bring on other folks. Kind of nice to just do it like spur of the moment, like someone's just on the chat over there. And I see, oh, this is a cool name, Mahbub Ali. All right. Mahbub Ali says this. I'm going to try and display some of the chats that Mabu said, right? So Mabu says, hey, I'm struggling with a website. You say it's 5 months old, you have 10,000 impressions, 10 clicks, and 13 articles. I don't know what to do. All right, well, the first thing, you did a great thing by taking action. You have 13 articles out there, and you're getting, 10,000 impressions. That's pretty good for 13 articles and that few of clicks. So I would recommend you continue publishing content. I don't know what niche or keywords or anything like that, so I have no clue if those are good or bad or anything. But I would say publish more content. 13 articles is really not that many. I would expect you to have obtained more at this point in time, like more clicks, more traffic in general. So I would say keep publishing stuff, keep doing things. Usually doing things is a good idea. So if you don't know about like the quality of your keywords or anything like that, I would suggest you check out the Keyword Golden Ratio Masterclass, which is just free on YouTube. It's a playlist that I put together with my friend Alex Cooper over at WP Eagle. So if you check that out, totally free. It's a couple hours of content, and basically you'll be able to, I hope, figure out if your keywords are good or not. Your content is the next place I would look. So are your keywords good? You could assess that. Your content, a lot of times what happens is I'll get a question like this and someone's like, yes, Doug, the content is fantastic. I wrote it myself, and I don't want to brag, but it's so good. I am such a good writer and it's flawless. And then I read it and it looks like horseshit. It's just terrible. So it turns out sometimes we're not very good at assessing how good our content is. We're not good at editing our content, and you may have very bad content and you just don't know it. So I highly recommend you get a friend or someone who is competent at editing, reading, and evaluating an article. And it could be, your parents or your friend or your spouse. Maybe just a good friend of yours that enjoys reading. And then you can have them take a look and let them tell you honestly how good the content is. Sometimes we just don't know. Next question, and I'm just going to hit these in the chat. Bo Miller says, do you still use keywords everywhere now that it's a paid tool? Yes. It is still ridiculously cheap compared to the other tools out there. They charge like pennies. It's so cheap. So I would recommend that you still use it, and it's fantastic. It's a very good tool. It just makes it easier, especially the way that I do keyword research. It makes it much easier. Bo also asked about Emilia's channel. You would be interested in the accountability group. So I think I could probably pull that up somewhere. Emilia, I'm not sure if you could post that in there or if Asim, let me know if people could post it in there so Bo and other folks could get to it. And Bo, you can definitely check out the video that I released yesterday. It's an interview with Emilia. So you can check that out and you'll be able to get the link over to her channel. All right. Cool. Good question. Eddie says this. Eddie Creative. How much content do I publish now? Do I write all of them or do I have writers? You're averaging 5 per week, a mix of both, all over 3,000 words. So currently, right now, this month, I'm publishing about 1 to 2 articles per month. So not as much as I have in the past. I write 0 of it myself. So I have a couple writers working for me. And in the past, I have published as many as, I kind of work in sprints. So there have been weeks where I've published like 80 or 100 articles, but then there's other weeks where I publish 0. And I usually approach things as a project, not as an ongoing process. I'm not sure why. I mean, I'm a project manager, so that's kind of how I approach it. And I want to spawn up a team, have everybody work really hard, and then taper it down. I really don't like having people working for me that are always waiting for me to give them more work. It's like a job to get people to do work for you. And I don't want to do that. So that's kind of why I like to organize it in sprints of work. But Eddie, if you're doing that, I mean, you're crushing it, right? So can you give us an idea like how much content you have out there and what's going on as far as traffic and revenue? And with that said, my man Derek, who's a longtime friend of the channel here, Derek hit $2,000 per month. He says this, biggest month yet. You're doing over 2,000 this month, which is fantastic because a lot of people are seeing traffic drops. Derek's growing at this point from all the hard work he's done. And he tells us he has 86 posts. His biggest tip is to help people. Focus on content that helps instead of just buyer keywords. Very good. Very good. And then Alexander followed up to say how to know that your site is big enough to rank for those 1,000 volume keywords. The size of your site doesn't really matter. I think you're probably just talking like big is like authoritative enough. Basically, I would say if your site's out of the sandbox, so after 6 months, go ahead and start publishing content on those bigger search volume keyword terms. And then you can see how they're ranking. You can start internally linking. I like to use a cool tool called Link Whisper. So that makes it easier to do internal linking. But then you could also get those external links. And basically, you don't know if your site's big enough until you start publishing the content and start seeing the results. And thanks again for Emilia for coming on, by the way. She was just minding her own business over there, hopping on the chat, and then she jumped on a call. So really appreciate that. Do check out her channel. All right. Ahmed says, you would like to achieve your 5K goal. What can you suggest me to hit in 2020? All right. Ahmed, what are you doing right now? So tell me these 3 things. Where is your revenue right now? And then tell me what you plan on working on and what you have been working on. So tell me those 3 things in the chat. And there's a lot of stuff in the chat here, so I'm just making sure I got all the stuff going on. All right, Coming around to it, coming around. All right, West Country website. Just to motivate me to start niche sites again. Just bought a domain and setting up hosting now. Very cool. Just keep moving forward. As long as you keep making a little progress each day, usually it'll work. Oh, Internet Marketing Nomad is telling us how to find someone's channel. Very good. Thanks for doing that. All right. And okay, and then Satim asks for the impossible. Where can I buy a good link at a low price? Well, my friend, that doesn't exist. So either you're getting a bad link at a low price or a good link at a high price. Usually great links and low prices, those are not going to be around. New Age asks for resubmitting. So do you force index or resubmit sitemaps on a regular frequency? I usually, like if I'm making a change and I want to see that coming up soon, I want to see the impact, I will quote force index. So for people that don't know, it means I go over to the search console and then what do? You inspect the URL and then click request indexing. So I will do that if I want to see something happen quick. I just did that the other day. That Amazon affiliate example page is one where many updates were made. I've added more images, there's more stuff on there, and I wanted to see what would happen like that day. I usually don't resubmit sitemaps in general. And typically for my sites, there's enough links going to it and there's enough sort of, I don't know, activity. Usually things get re-indexed pretty good. And all right, so Ahmed is slowly catching up. I asked him for 3 things, so I see a couple things so far. Asim says you wanted to thank me. So Asim says, I want to thank you. You followed me for 3 years. Your first 2 sites didn't make any money, and then you went back and checked the KGR masterclass, and now your site is making $300 with 100 articles. Thanks. Well, and you, of course, should take all the credit because you did all the work. You took action and all that stuff. So fantastic. And I want to give a shout out to my own podcast. It's The Doug Show. And the cool part is you can, all right, this one, Doug Show podcast. Boom. So you can go to your podcast directory of choice and basically listen to the show. Subscribe. I would love it if you subscribed. And there's a voicemail number in the show description. So you can call and leave a voicemail that I could play on the show, which is really cool. Much like when Emilia hopped on and talked with me, it adds a nice sort of variety. Even if there's technical difficulties like we had today, it adds variety to have someone leave a question, a real question, without me peppering in my own thoughts. They can just ask their question. So the voicemail number is in there. You can call in. It goes to a Google Voice number, and then you leave the voicemail. I get the audio file, and I can play it in the podcast. All right. So Ahmed is slowly updating. So he wants to make $5,000 per month. He's making $300 now. You're working on a branded site, and you have 50 articles with over 300 in revenue right now. All right. So I would recommend a couple things. So there's a couple things going on. One, you have 50 articles and you're making $300 right now. Marty McLeod, student of 5-Figure Niche Site, he has, I think about 100 articles and he's making about 4,000 to 5,000. I can't remember the exact number, but basically a lot more. If I'm doing the math right, he's making, so 2x. So he has twice as many articles, but he's making over 10 times as much as you. So if you do the math, it seems like there's some disconnect. So I would say you may want to look at the price point of those products. If it's pretty low, you may need to move up the value chain and have more expensive products. The other part is you may have articles that just bring in the wrong kind of traffic. So if you have a lot of how-to content out there, those are not generally going to sell affiliate products for you. People are trying to figure out how to do something, not buy a product. So you got to make sure that you are attracting the right kind of traffic to monetize like the way that you're trying to monetize. I don't know how that is exactly, but I'll assume it's Amazon Associate. And then the other the other part is, publish more content. So 50 articles is fine, but if you're only making 300 now and you want to make 5,000, you're going to have to publish like 800 articles if we're assuming the same sort of like um, revenue per article. You need like 800 or something like that if I'm doing the math in my head. So, okay. I would make sure also, because the other part that we don't know here, right? You could be making $300 per month with 50 articles, but maybe none of the articles are really getting much traffic. So you may need to improve the rankings. So you may need to improve the content and get more backlinks. For the longtime fans of the show, you may know that I go back to these two wells. It's literally the only stuff that I talk about, all right? And I'm aware. I'm aware it's the only stuff. Basically, you end up with content and backlinks. So those are the two things. So you got to make sure you have the right keywords so you can write the right content to get the right traffic. The right traffic will be making purchases. So make sure that side over there, the keywords and the content are all good. And then you got to rank well. So you need to have the my arms, microphone in my face here. So basically, you end up with the ability to rank if you have the content. But you need to get backlinks most likely. Now, some people are like, "Hey, I'm never doing any backlinking. I'm not going to promote." People say it's evil or some kind of thing like that. And basically, you can get some backlinks out there. So, in Seatsum says, all right, says you really need my suggestions. Okay, there's a link in the description. It's the HOTH. That's where I get my guest posts. They're not particularly cheap. And you were asking for cheap stuff. So they're not cheap, and I try not to work with cheap people in general because you usually end up with a crappy product. So yeah, go check out the HOTH. I'm an affiliate. All the companies that I mentioned, I'm an affiliate for them. You'll see the disclosure before you get to any of those affiliate links in the description, by the way. So moving on. Someone says, Amir says this. See if we can read that. What you suggest the new sites should increase the domain ranking or work for KGR? Also, can you share the niche which your friend is making 4,000 on 1,000 articles and what its domain ranking? Sure. So first, I'm going to tear apart your question. Okay. So number one, I don't share the niche of my friend. That would be a really dickhead thing to do. And I just don't do that. Some people do, but I don't do that. If you want to check out a site that is making, I think it's like $300, $400, $500 per month, something like that. Best Roof Box, Alex Cooper, go check out his channel. He does, public case study. My friend Spencer Hawes over at Niche Pursuits, he has a site. I think it's like Own the Yard. I think it's making a lot more, by the way. And it is a public case study, and you could go check it out. That is in the like home yard outdoor living niche. You can go find the domain rating on your own. And then next, you really, the domain rating, if you want to improve the domain rating, you can just spam your site with backlinks that have high domain rating. What you really want to do probably is get more traffic on your site. So I would suggest you get good, high quality links and not necessarily worry about the domain rating. The domain rating, or ranking as you're calling it, the domain ranking, actually, I don't even know where that is from, but maybe you made a typo or something like that. But the thing is, you got to make sure that you're focusing on the right metric, and the right metric is increasing your ranking so that you can increase your traffic. The byproduct is your domain rating will probably move up, but that shouldn't be your only goal. The reason why, Amir, is basically, if you just try to increase your domain rating or your domain authority, I think that's what you're trying to say here and just spelled it wrong. You're going to end up making poor decisions because you're going to get crappy links for like no good reason. You're going to get crappy links for cheap. Like Satim was asking, like, hey, how can I get great links for cheap? You can't get great links for cheap. You can get some links for a fair price, but that's about as good as you can go. So, all right. Next, and we'll just hit a couple more of these because it's starting to get redundant and things that I've sort of covered before in different places. So there's a lot of stuff over on Niche Site Project where I've literally gone through like all this in the written word, and my answers here end up being a little more truncated and maybe not as thorough. So Yuhara says, what's the minimum price I should offer for 1,000 words when I'm hiring on Upwork or a different platform? Also, is Upwork the ideal place to hire writers? Okay. I hire all my writers from Upwork. Is it the ideal place? It depends on what you're looking for. For me, it's perfect. I hire all my writers there. What's the minimum price you should offer? I think you could probably get away with about $10 to $12 for 1,000 words, but I personally don't recommend you do that. If you pay the minimum, you're going to get poor quality. I have to ask, just at large here, because I get a lot of questions. It's like, hey, how can I get the cheapest price? And what is the cheapest price I could possibly offer? Now, I know money's tight. You got to work on a budget and all that stuff, but I mean, why are we trying to get like the shittiest quality work? Like, why are you trying to get the cheapest deal, ignoring the quality, right? Some people are just trying to get the cheapest quality, the cheapest price, and they're ignoring quality. So help me out here. Why is everybody more eager? Not everybody. Some people are out there crushing it. I'm pretty sure Derek is not paying the cheapest prices. Maybe he's writing it himself. But yeah, why is everybody hung up on like trying to get the bottom dollar instead of the best quality? You got to look at the ROI, not the cheapest price. So you guys got to flip how you're thinking about this. If you can make more money by investing a little bit more, that's better than if you can save money on the front end. So I think people are short-sighted. And honestly, I think that may be another thing. Like there was Mahboob and a couple other folks. Like if you've been publishing a lot of content, you're like, hey, I'm not sure why this is not working. I've been doing this for 6 months, blah, blah, blah. I mean, it could be that the quality of the content is so poor because you've tried to save money. And I'm connecting a lot of dots here, but it's kind of a trend. People are like, yeah, I got this fantastic writer. They work for, $3.50 per 1,000 words. And it is worse than the gibberish that I wrote on the board here, which I could share again. It's worse looking than this right here. Right? I mean, you gotta, yeah, what does this even say? This is nonsense. So yeah, I just gotta, I'll make a call and say, you gotta pay fair prices. If you want to get like average quality, you gotta at least pay fair prices. You can't be so cheap that you're just trying to pay the cheapest that you could possibly get away with. All right. And No More says, what's the average rate to pay for proofreading? I pay about 10 to 20 bucks for editing and proofreading. I don't know if that's average though. I have a feeling I'm probably paying a little bit more. Okay, and Yuhara says you're planning on investing $500 and you want to basically get the most bang for your buck. So yeah, I mean, my answer remains, your question was, what's the minimum price you should offer for 1,000 words? I would say if you're looking for, average quality, like I'm talking about, 20 bucks. 20 bucks for 1,000 words, something like that. So yeah, everybody, I mean, you don't want to try to squeeze the most value out of every transaction. I mean, that is not the way to do it. A lot of times people are just going to end up with, they're not going to enjoy working with you. If you, let's say Yuhara, you do offer them $10 and they accept it and they're a decent writer, they also know that they're only going to get paid $10. So they're probably going to rush through it. They're probably going to be eager to stop working with you and start working with someone else who's paying a fair price. All right. Okay, Paul says, I'm trying to sell a site that's making $250 per month. How much could I ask? So typically it's about 25 times the monthly profit. So it depends on what the monthly profit is. You say it's making 250, but there's often some expenses associated with the website. So you could also go, there's a company that I work with, I'm an affiliate for. I don't know if there's a link in the description. I think there probably is. It's called Motion Invest. Motion Invest. They work with sites of that size, and they're not a broker. They buy it pretty much straight up. All right. How to find photos for an affiliate site, but you don't have the product. I would use the images from Amazon using the proper method, either the site stripe or this fantastic cool tool called Amalinks Pro. By the way, Amalinks Pro is having a discount exclusive with me. So this is going on. You see this is now right on my head here. I can just drag it around. That's pretty cool. So this is the deal. It's going on till the end of the day. That is how I would get images, especially if you want to have like different sizes, be able to select. So you can save either $30 or $100. That is good until the end of the day today. So if you're interested, you need to take action now. You got to do it now. So I'll leave that up there for a second. Alex from Brazil, what's going on? Hope things are well down there in Brazil. Chunky Moose, what's up? TechMate says, you forgot to answer my question. I don't know what your question is. What is it? All right. And Emilia says, Motion Invest is good about doing deals quickly. So Paul, I would say follow my affiliate link, and you should let them know that you know me, right? It's key. You want people to treat you good, so let them know you know me, and then see what they're gonna do. And yeah, that's the deal. They work pretty quick. And I think I recently emailed them. I know the founders over there, and I was like, hey guys, one of my friends, they didn't get an email response back very quickly, like what's going on. And they let me know that they were moving like email services and there was some technical snafu, but it should be pretty quick now. I'm assuming. I'm not sure if they're working on the weekends or anything like that. All right. And don't forget Amalinks Pro out there and the deal. Alex asks this. How could I find new sources of KGR? Is looking at competitors a good start? Sure. That's a decent place. I really like just the old classic. Go to Google, start typing in keywords that I know are decent, look at the auto suggest, look at the related searches, and then go down that rabbit hole. Competitors, though, Alex, that's a great way as well. They may have tapped into a source that you didn't really realize was there. I also like to look not necessarily at quote competitors, but like much bigger sites that are not targeting super long tail keywords. I like to look at sites that are maybe like the Wirecutter, and they're going after best wireless mouse, for example. And it's a very well written, thorough article. They have all the products and they've tested it very thoroughly, but they're not targeting a specific, best wireless mouse for at home working. right? Something like that. So if they're ranking for certain ultra long tail keywords like that, you should definitely go, check it out, because they're not optimized for that. They're not really trying to optimize for ultra long tails. They're going for the shorter, fatter tails. All right. And I'm going to try and find TechMate's question here, which I don't see. And I'm just going to scroll up a little bit farther here. I don't see it. One interesting thing, just in the day of this coronavirus stuff going on, is people are doing YouTube live streams. They're doing a lot more. I see people that I follow, they're stuck inside. They're trying to have like more of a sense of community, which is cool. And then I'm like, oh, even though I have a smaller audience than the people that I typically follow, I was going to say I have the technology down, but obviously I screwed up two things today, but I'm learning through it. And that's kind of a good thing. But I'm seeing a lot of people, even like TV shows, right? They don't have their production crew. They don't have access to all the lighting and all the good stuff. They're shooting on their phone. And I mean, my setup here, my bullshit setup right here, may be better than some of the people that are doing videos from their home. So kind of interesting. And I'm like, oh, at least I have this presence on YouTube. People show up, even if I show up late. So Chunky Moose says this: do you have a set starting time for this live stream each week? The answer is yes. It should be 11 Mountain Time, which was an hour and 15 minutes ago. But I scheduled it at the wrong time today. So there were about 15 people waiting for me starting at 10. And then I showed up at like 10:40. And then I just decided to go a little long today. All right. And Emilia says you caught Pat Flynn's daily stream a few times. Yep. And I saw that he was going live. So that's cool. And I am going to hop out here in a second. I got a few things to do right now. So I'm going to have to jet here, but I may go live sometime this weekend. Again, I'm not 100% sure. Fawn says, as new in the niche website, should I start with the KGR method or targeting high volume keywords with low competition? So you can do whatever you want, really. You do whatever you want. It doesn't really matter to me. I would suggest that you do target keyword golden ratio terms for faster results. But I don't know exactly what you're trying to do or why or anything. Most people should start with the KGR, but other people say, don't do keyword research, just go with your gut feeling and, I don't know, just publish blindly for 18 months or something like that. I don't know. But if you feel like, hey, I want to target high volume keywords with low competition, you can go for it. Again, highly suggest that you do the KGR if you're asking that question though. Okay, I'm going to hop back. All right. Randy says, what's the best HTML generator for tables? If you go to my site, let me see if I could find the actual link for you here real quick. So there's an FAQ page on Niche Site Project, and I will send it to you. So check that out. There's many questions that people ask, and that is one of them, about tables. And then there's the direct link, Randy, for tables and all that stuff. So You can check out the different options. I'm pretty sure that I do an HTML table generator and have a link there. I think I do. Let's see what I have here. Actually, I maybe sent you the wrong link. Oh no, it's in there. It's in there. It's at the very bottom. So do check it out. And I think this is the one that I use right there. And then last question I'll answer here for real. Last one we're going to go through. Maboob says, what is the quality content? For example, a product, ironing board, or washing machine. What will you write or ask to write for quality content? Holy shit, I don't even know how to answer this. I think if you're asking this question, you got to go back to square one. When I say quality content, I mean no misspelled words. I mean proper grammar and enjoyable to read. By reading your question, I can see that maybe it would be hard for you to tell. Like there's missing words here in your question. Some of the interaction tells me that maybe English isn't your first language. That is totally okay. You just need to make sure that your content reads well. That's what I'm talking about. And like if you're saying, what will you write or ask to write for quality content, like you got to go back to square one. You're not ready to publish a lot of content. You're not ready yet. So you can do this, but you need to figure out how to write the content or get someone to write it. There's a shitload of content over on Niche Site Project where I tell you how to hire people. I tell you the instructions to give them and all that stuff. So I can't explain it all right now. In fact, you can fill a whole course with this sort of information. So you can get there, but you just have to you got to go back to square one and figure out how to write so people understand you, and make sure that if you read something, you know if it's good or not, or you can hire someone to do the editing for you. So you just got to make sure. All right. And newsflash from Healthman says, you said that travelers returning from Ontario are required to self-isolate for 14 days. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, yeah, I think there's a lot of that going on these days. And I think we're good to go. Kent, what's on? You just caught us as we're leaving. David, thanks for hopping on, asking questions. Randy's making $50 per month. That's fantastic. And Eddie can appreciate what I'm going through. So, and that's how some of these live streams go. Like we had a pretty good flow for a while. And then at the end, I'm just like, what happened? How did we end up here from where we started? Everybody have a great weekend. Write some content, brush up on your grammar if you need to, and, help people edit. Another shout out for Emilia Gardner, full interview. We talked for like an hour and a half, full interview published yesterday. Check it out. Please leave a comment on that video. Please check out Emilia's channel too. It looks like she's putting together potentially a little group for accountability and motivation. And I bet, right? So Maboob, go over, join the accountability group. There are good people over there. They're much more motivating and supportive than me. I'm a jackass. All right. I know it. I'm not good at motivating people. In fact, potentially discouraging for some folks, but Maboob, go over there because I bet you can share some of the content with the folks like Asim and maybe even Emilia. They would maybe take a look at it and let you know, hey, this is good. This is bad. They'll help you out most likely. So, all right, everybody have a good one, and we'll see you next week.